Would you be friends with Dexter?
No,
But like, what if you didn't know that he was a serial killer and he was just like some guy who
I would
works
know.
in Miami
I would know.
on the homicide unit? Like, that's cool.
You think I'd trust a man?
I know.
The look in your eye after that. No, you're right. Alice does not trust men.
Things have happened. No trust is left. Left the building.
Trauma.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to perform an autopsy?
Ever wanted to know how accurate your favorite crime drama is?
If you're brave enough,
Join us inside the morgue.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Inside the Morgue. We're your hosts and favorite pathology duo, Jess and Alice. Today, this was a fan request that someone emailed us. We're going to be talking about Dexter New Blood.
Love Dexter. And I love Dexter New Blood. I've watched this whole one. I know you haven't.
I only watched the last episode.
That's what we were requested
That
to
was
watch.
what was requested to us about his whole death and theories on how he survived.
But spoilers.
Spoiler, oh yeah, spoilers, duh.
Yeah, that's fine. We've talked about Dexter spoilers on this podcast before.
Because we did Original Sin.
Because
so
we did
they
Original
know.
Sin, which happens after this, or
Really before.
It's confusing.
But yeah, we had an email suggestion talking about New Blood and if we think Dexter would survive this. He got shot by his son. Big spoiler alert. But we kind of know from Original Sin that he does survive.
And they're coming out with Resurrection, which implies
that he gets survived.
Resurrected. So, yeah. So a little bit of breakdown in this episode. It starts off. So, I know you haven't watched New Blood. His long lost son, Harrison, ends up finding him. And now he's a teenager. And eventually, Dexter, who's living as Jim Lindsay, which is actually a nod to the author of the books. I know his last name is Lindsay, but I forget Jeff Lindsay. His name is Jeff Lindsay, but they make the character Jim Lindsay is Dexter's alias in this book. He's living in like a small town upstate New York. Harrison tracks him down, knows who he is, and Dexter like lets him in on the dark passenger because he thinks Harrison has a similar dark passenger because he has some violent tendencies. And he like teaches him the family trade basically, and they're kind of
I picked that up.
Yeah. So, but then things take a turn. When Dexter's targeted, his home's targeted. Evidence is found relating him back to a murder from the beginning. His girlfriend, who is also the chief of police in that small town, puts it together. And yeah, to get out of it, Dexter has to kill an innocent person, which is what triggers Harrison to realize that he's not doing this for like vigilante for the greater good reasons. Like he thought he's doing it just because
he doesn't want to get caught ever.
He's a serial killer who just doesn't want to get caught. So to stop him, he shoots him with do we have the gun in the notes?
I just put rifle.
I looked up the exact type of gun, excuse me, because I needed to know. And I did want to give some credit because the reason they tracked Dexter down for the first murder is they found screws and plates from FEMA repair.
Yep. And they tracked the serial numbers.
Which you can do. Like that's how you ID an unidentified body. hesitant when people ask me about injuries that are survivable
Mhm.
because it's so dependent on like so many
So
different
many different
factors. And
factors.
I'm not an expert on
I'm
surviving.
not an expert on anything.
I'm, I mean, that's not true. But like, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not like an
Right.
expert on all of the emergency
I'm not
medicine.
gonna go to court and testify on
No,
this.
I'm not an expert on like emergency medicine or the kind of medical attention that Dexter would have received to
Mhm.
have him survive. I know what happens after if they don't.
Yeah.
So I'm always hesitant when people are like, oh, would they have survived this? And I'm like, maybe. Like, I don't know.
But it
It depends
depends.
on how quick you do certain things. But this was definitely an interesting deep dive to get into.
Yeah, it
You
was
did a lot
fun.
of research on
It
it.
was fun. So really, like, I think mainly it depends on like where the bullet actually hits you.
Mm-hmm. And it would
And
hit
like you
him
said, like
right on the
medical attention, like how fast is
right.
ME's coming? Or
I
not
mean,
ME's, EMS.
they're in the middle of nowhere.
Hmm.
So yeah, it would probably take him a little bit.
And
But
it's like the middle of winter. It's snowy.
yeah, and he got hit like right on the left side of his chest, which is where your heart is
Mhm. Mhm.
usually. We're gonna get into that later.
Just you wait.
And yeah, from what I saw briefly in the episode, it looked like it hit him right in the heart and or left lung.
Right.
Yeah.
So like a couple of different factors I think that would affect your ability to survive would be the location. Where is it hitting? Is it hitting the heart and like major arteries? So like the direct hit to the heart is very fatal and death would be really quick if it hit you right in the heart. Lungs are a serious injury, but that's more survivable than a heart shot, especially if it doesn't cause immediate catastrophic bleeding or like a sucking chest wound, like air being drawn into the chest
Oh,
cavity.
yeah, like a pneumothorax.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's no good. So, like we also just said, the speed and effectiveness of medical attention also, obviously, is a factor.
They're in the middle of nowhere,
They're in the
upstate.
middle
How
of nowhere,
fast are
upstate New
EMS
York.
really coming?
Yeah. And I mean, we do see in the beginning of Original Sin, he's being driven by police.
Mhm.
And like there is a police officer on scene. It's his girlfriend, or I'm assuming
The
ex-girlfriend.
chief woman.
The chief, yeah, who drives him. So like, yeah, the faster someone can receive first aid and be transported, obviously they have better chances
Yeah.
of survival. And also the kind of care that they receive. So obviously trained medical professionals on the scene and at the hospital is crucial.
Mhm.
And just the kind of resources and access to a trauma center with just experienced surgeons and equipment to address the severe injuries he would have sustained from this.
Yeah.
And it also depends on the type of rifle and bullet. So rifle rounds versus handgun rounds are a few differences. Rifle bullets, due to their higher velocity, typically cause more severe tissue damage and a larger temporary cavity than a handgun round would. So a temporary cavity is like the expansion of the gas
Yeah.
when it like enters your skin.
Mhm.
So it can cause more tearing and damage. And also bullet fragmentation can cause a lot of internal trauma. So fragmentation can severely worsen the injury.
Like a shotgun. If this was a shotgun, not a
A
rifle.
shotgun or even like a hollow point bullet.
Yeah.
And those are meant to not go straight through. They're meant to stop in one person so that they don't, or stop in one. They're used a lot for hunting because
Mhm.
the animal will bleed out quicker. But also, again, I'm not a hunter, but I've heard
You're
this.
not?
I'm not. I'm a vegetarian. It would be really weird. I was really anti eating meat, but like I'm fine killing animals. I just think meat's gross. I don't judge you if you hunt, though. By the way, I don't want the hunters to come for me.
If you ever went undercover, that's what you should do.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what I'll do. I'll get really into hunting. I never need to
They'll
go
never
undercover.
suspect that you're a vegetarian.
Am I undercover because I'm a vegetarian? Why am I undercover? What do I need to be
I
undercover
don't know.
for?
Do you need a reason?
Yes, I do. Anyway, hollow point bullets, they expand on impact. So they stay in the body. They don't like go through there. It's not a penetrating wound. It's no, it is a penetrating wound, not a perforating wound. Perforating is a through and through wound, which would be caused by not a hollow point bullet. I explained that so well.
You did great. Then there's also a lot of other factors like, is this individual getting shot a healthy individual? Like, do they have any other underlying health conditions that could affect their ability to withstand and recover from a gunshot wound? And also, like, are there any other organs that are injured in addition to this, like, gunshot wound that they got? Because that could decrease their chances of survival a
Right.
lot.
Yeah.
So, kind of in summary, a rifle shot to the chest is life-threatening, as we just discussed in
In
depth.
case you didn't
If you
know,
didn't know.
please seek medical attention immediately.
But survival could be possible in some cases, particularly if vital organs are not directly struck and if immediate and effective medical care is provided. However, the probability of death is higher compared to other types of injuries.
hmm
So he was in the cold weather, and in this whole research that I went down into this rabbit hole of Dexterness, cold weather can negatively impact you, and it can also positively impact you in your chances of surviving because it reduces blood flow and oxygen supply to the injured area. But from what I've read, that actually kind of helps you.
I was gonna say it helps because it's like you're not bleeding out as quickly,
Mhm.
but it also the wound isn't healing. But like you also
Yeah.
don't want like you want first course of action is stop the bleeding,
Mhm.
like and then get medical attention. So and like if
It's
you
like a toss-up.
lower the amount of oxygen you need, yeah. So this was a fun fan theory that Jess found on Reddit that we were nerding out about before. So it looks like Dexter got shot on the left side of his chest, which is usually where your heart is. But there is a condition called dextrocardia where your heart is actually flipped and on the other side of your chest. And so there's a fan theory on Reddit that maybe Dexter survives because Dexter has dextrocardia. And the name could be some kind of symbolic connection that his heart is on the right side of his chest. And that's why when he got shot in the left, he didn't bleed out as quickly.
His heart's literally in the wrong place. Like
His heart's in the wrong place.
Time.
He's Dexter. He's a serial killer trying to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. I would honestly love that. I would
that
love
would
that.
be so now I have
great.
to watch Resurrection, and I'm so hoping that this fan theory is correct.
Yeah, his heart
that would
being
make
in the
it
wrong
even
place
better.
would be. I don't know. I just love that. I love that so much. I love Dexter. I love Dexter
Whoever
so
came
much.
up with that idea and theory, I love you for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so dextrocardia, cardia means heart, but there's one where like your organs are flipped too. And I've always wanted to see it, but I've never seen it.
I know, there's a word for it. Why can't I think of it?
There's some doctors that we've worked with who've seen it. So
I've only seen it in
body isn't
textbooks.
completely like symmetrical. Your internal organs aren't symmetrical. Even your lungs are different.
Mhm.
Your right lung has 3 lobes. Your left lung has 2. And then like your liver is on your right side, and like your stomach's on your left. But like there's a condition where everything's just reversed. And
Reversus in situ?
maybe
Might not be it.
something in situ.
Something.
In situ means internal. Yeah, something. But you know the name of it. Leave a comment. If we're driving you nuts, not knowing the name of it,
leave a comment.
Leave a comment. Oh wait. Oh. Hold on. I have my glasses on, Dylan.
I can't read.
Hold on. What are my glasses on? I still can't read. It's still too far. Oh, organs flipped. Situs invertus. You were so close.
So close.
You were so close. Situs invertus. Yeah, I really want to see that.
Yeah.
Or just meet somebody who has it.
That's up there, I think, with horseshoe kidneys of like how rare it is.
Horseshoe kidneys is pretty cool. I've seen those. It's when your kid. We've probably talked about it on the podcast before.
It's the coolest thing ever.
But it's when your 2 kidneys are connected as one. It literally just looks like a horseshoe.
You have like 3. You can either have like 3 kidneys altogether, or sometimes people have 4 kidneys altogether. It doesn't like hinder you in any way.
Yeah, not usually.
Some people don't even know they have it.
That's
but
crazy.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
So this article that I found down my rabbit hole talks about how hypothermia can actually save lives.
Yep.
Which is kind of what I think Dexter was going through, just laying there in the snow. He was probably going through hypothermia or like developing it. So this accident happened in 1999, and this article was written in 2019. It was a dreadful accident. This orthopedic surgeon resident, Anna Bagenholm, was skiing down this mountain in Norway many times like she did before, but that day in 1999, she lost control of her skis and tumbled down headfirst, crashing through the ice of a frozen stream. She was trapped under a thick layer of ice, but she managed to avoid drowning thanks to an air pocket between the water and the ice. And two colleagues with whom she had been skiing with tried to frantically, like, pull her out, but they did not have success in that. And by the time a rescue team arrived and managed to cut a hole through the ice, that was, like, 80 minutes had passed since she originally, like, went through.
Mhm.
And she was not breathing, she had no pulse, her pupils were fully dilated, she appeared to be dead. But nevertheless, CPR was started and she was transported to the nearest hospital via helicopter. And luckily, the emergency physicians at the Norwegian hospital were experienced in dealing with hypothermia and immediately connected her to a cardiopulmonary bypass machine that took over the work of her heart and her lungs, and it started to, like, warm up her blood. And about an hour later, her heart began to beat again, but her lungs did not regain function, requiring her to be placed on a
Oh
ventilator.
my god.
And although she would need the assistance of this device for about a month, just 10 days after the accident, she emerged from her coma, and she spent 2 months in the ICU and eventually made an almost total recovery, going back to working as a physician, not a surgeon, but a radiologist.
That's crazy. And I've heard of this before. I remember I was in high school biology, ninth grade, and we were talking about like metabolism and everything. And we watched a video about a kid who fell through the ice
Mhm.
and survived because after like over an hour, because everything was
It
so
was
cold, and
frozen,
like
yeah.
he didn't need as much oxygen. His like muscles like it was crazy.
Mhm.
Crazy. So what do we owe Bagenholm's miraculous recovery to? It was hypothermia. And of course, the dedication of the close to 100 doctors and nurses that were all involved in her care. So, the chemical reactions that constitute brain function require a constant supply of oxygen, as I'm sure a lot of people know. Oxygen is important. So, brain death occurs when the oxygen supply is interrupted for more than a few minutes, but there are exceptions to this. As the body temperature decreases, so does the rate at which chemical reactions occur. And at around 14 degrees Celsius, the reactions are so slow that they require almost little to no oxygen. And that is what happened in this case. Mads Gilbert, a physician who led the team in the emergency room of the hospital where Bagenholm was taken care of, ended up coining the phrase, "Nobody is dead until warm and dead." So, like, warm them up and make
That
sure.
freaks me out.
That freaks me out a lot too. I don't like that. But I mean, he's right. So in 2014, 15 years after this miraculous recovery, Gilbert and colleagues published a comprehensive paper on the resuscitation of hypothermia or hypothermic cardiac arrest people or patients. While hypothermia is, of course, you should avoid it. I mean, don't actively seek it out.
Should avoid it.
Like, there are situations where it can be useful, like this one. So, after trauma is inflicted by an accident or a shooting, major blood loss leads to brain damage before surgeons can have a chance to repair the wounds. And if the patient is quickly cooled, the brain's oxygen requirements are lowered, allowing more time for surgery. Experiments on animals have already shown that it is possible to place a body in suspended animation for hours by cooling, followed by reanimation. Suspended animation is so
Wild.
sci fi. It's
Yeah.
so sci fi.
Shoot me up in a spaceship.
It's an episode of Twilight Zone. Sure.
So there was a surgeon in University of Michigan. He carried out some fascinating experiments along these lines. He stimulated gunshot wounds in pigs by severing a major artery and vein. In in the analysis of the
This episode isn't for the vegetarians. Damn, we're talking about hunting.
in animals with anesthesia, causing major blood loss, and the pigs remained but the pig's remaining blood was then drained and stored, replaced with a special salt solution cooled by 2 degrees Celsius. And this is the same solution that they use to preserve organs for transplant, and it contains a variety of different nutrients and antioxidants to preserve tissue damage. So as the salt solution cruises through the pig's circulatory system, its body temperature drops to about 10 degrees Celsius. Um, at which point there is no longer any heart or lung function, and surgery to repair the wounds can then be performed, followed by reintroduction of stored blood, warmed to the right temperature. And this surgeon, he um, carried out these experiments numerous times with 90% success rates of reanimation. And by training the pigs to perform special tasks before the experiment and then demonstrating that they remembered those skills after the reanimation has shown that brain function is not lost. Furthermore, the animal's ability to learn new skills is also not impaired, which
That's
is that's so crazy to
crazy.
think about.
That is crazy.
I just think about like in Grey's Anatomy, there was one episode where they were doing like open brain surgery and the guy was playing guitar.
Oh yeah, yeah. I haven't seen that episode, but I've seen like other medical dramas where they do that.
I don't
I just
know.
immediately
What did you think of?
Dr. Doolittle. The scene where they're doing like brain surgery on the tiger and he's like talking to the tiger. Like nobody else can talk to the tiger. Dr. Doolittle can, but he's like talking to the tiger while doing brain surgery on it. Sorry. Not the same. Not the same. But kind of.
So there are certain ethical considerations that like go beyond the questions of experimenting on pigs in this fashion. Trauma victims are generally unable to give consent for such a hypothermic procedure, and because of the need to act extremely quickly, there isn't time to contact that person's family and whatnot. So far, hospitals have not approved the procedures that involve draining the blood in this fashion, but based on animal experiments, it is possible.
That's crazy. So, this form of cooling the body to achieve a suspended animation should not be confused with cryonic resurrection. Clearly, who would confuse the two?
You, I'm looking at you.
You.
You would confuse them.
The
I did.
The far-fetched idea of preserving dead people in liquid nitrogen cooled cylinders with the hopes of bringing them back to life once science has found a cure for the disease after their death, like Walt Disney.
Oh my god.
Have you heard that theory?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought I was like blowing your mind that like his head is like frozen in Disney World somewhere.
But it is.
Obviously. Mickey Mouse hands just come and like grab me, like pull me off camera. I've never heard from
feed's
again.
gonna get cut.
So strangely enough, the companies that provide such cryopreservation are not willing to wait for payment until the customers are reanimated. So another article about the cooling of the body to survive says that suspended animation is used to, is set to be used in human trials in an attempt to save lives of gunshot and stabbing victims, like our friend Dexter. Or is he really our friend? I don't know. He's nobody's friend. He's a serial killer.
I think I would be friends with him. Would you be friends with Dexter?
No.
But like, what if you didn't know that he was a serial killer and he was just like some guy who works
would know.
in Miami
I wouldn't know.
on a homicide unit? Like, that's cool.
You think I'd trust a man?
I know.
The look in your eye after that. No, you're right. Alice does not trust men.
Things have happened. No trust is left. Left the building.
Trauma. A total of 10 patients will be involved in this study, which could allow doctors more time to perform life-saving procedures. Victims that have a gunshot or knife wound will have their body temperatures dramatically cooled before being placed into suspended animation, not cryonic resurrection. You people out there. So this technique would offer a groundbreaking method for emergency services that could help provide high rates of survival. And the trial will be taking place at the University Pierre and Marie Curie Presbyterian Hospital in Pittsburgh.
My favorite place.
Yes! Oh my God. Surgeons at the hospital have been placed on call in order to perform the procedure in an emergency situation, allowing for more time to deal with lethal injuries. When is this happening?
I think this already happened.
Why? Okay. I'm reading the article like it hasn't happened yet.
Tell
us how it went in Pittsburgh.
I had to look this article up again to see when this was written. I think it was somewhat recent. But the patients, let's just talk in the past tense now because it's definitely already happened.
Sorry, everybody.
Patients have all had their blood replaced with cold saline, cooling the body incredibly quickly and ceasing most cellular activity. And according to Dr. Peter Ray, surgeon at the University of Arizona in Tucson, this means that if someone is dying from a knife or a gunshot wound, they could be effectively frozen and then brought back once the damage has been repaired. And induced hypothermia has been used in medical procedures for years as cells within the body need less oxygen than when their temperature is lowered. And this means that a person can survive for longer periods of time without suffering from devastating brain damage. The method is sometimes used by surgeons performing brain and heart operations in order to stop blood flow. However, the process takes place. It takes time to do it and must carefully be planned.
Yeah.
And you can also there's, like, a different approach that can be taken. Emergency victims will be cooled at a faster rate in order to reduce the chances of the patient dying before the repairs can be made, and once structural damage has been fixed, the patients will slowly be warmed up in order to resuscitate them without causing a lot of, cell damage, from, like, sudden bursts of oxygen, which cause fatal, reperfusion injuries.
Would you be willing to have all your blood replaced? It'd be really, really cold.
If I was unconscious, sure.
Yeah. I would love to be able to say, like, yeah, one time I had all my blood replaced with, like, a cooling solution.
Like those people that were like, "Oh, well, I was legally pronounced dead, and then I
Yeah.
came back."
Yeah, I was
You wanna
dead
be
for
you wanna
4
be up there
minutes.
with those people?
Yeah. I don't wanna die. But, like, if something were to happen to me and they were willing to try this on me,
You do it. You
I
have my
would.
consent.
Jess gave you permission to try it on me. Jess gave you her consent for me.
Yes, that's how that works.
Clearly, we're the same person. So do you think this is how Dexter survives?
I really am sticking with the Dextrocardia theory.
Okay. It could be a combination of things. And I wish I rewatched the beginning of Original Sin to hear what the doctors are saying. Because, like, the beginning of Original Sin opens with him being taken to the emergency room
Mhm.
and then taking him right into the OR and, like, starting work on him. And they say a bunch of medical jargon that I didn't take note of immediately. And I should have rewatched
Oh,
to
we
be
should
like,
have watched
what did
that.
they say? But I do love the Dextrocardia theory that his heart is in
Yeah.
the wrong place. It's so poetic.
I think that that is, like, top tier writing
Yeah.
if they did that theory.
I would love that. I would love that. And how yeah. Did you ever finish watching the original Dexter?
No, I'm
How
at,
far
like, season 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's kinda when it dips.
I had to take a break. I watched too many things at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do suggest finishing it still.
Well,
But
now I
you
just
liked
found a new show called Saving Hope, and it's like the doctor, and he's like, he can see all the ghosts of like the people that pass, and I'm like, damn, I want to watch these ghosts.
I wanna watch these ghosts.
So I find all these new shows, and like I start them, and I forget what I'm watching. So
Mm.
eventually, I'll go back to Dexter. It just might take a while.
Dexter did slow down for me after season 4. But I kept chugging along. And then
I also found out that Deb died, and I was like, oh god.
spoiler alert again. Well, we're just spoiling all of Dexter. Just been a huge
I was like,
spoiler
"No,
warning
when did she
before this
die?"
episode. Yeah, she dies. Not until like the last episode.
Okay.
Makes it for most of it.
Okay.
Or like a few episodes from the end. She makes most of it. It's very sad though. It is tragic.
What's up with him and Angel? Are they like feuding?
Where are you at? What do you mean?
That was like the end of the last episode of New Blood. They were like, oh, your friend
well,
Batista.
Well, yeah, because
Because they all found out.
yeah, they all figured out. Well, because
Okay.
he had a suspicion that Dexter did it when he disappeared. Because okay, so when Deb dies, Dexter disappears, and like he knew LaGuerta was suspicious of him, and he's starting to like put the pieces together. So he like always had it like in the back of his head, like, did Dexter do this? And then it was confirmed when she sent him. So in the show, New Blood, the one that we were just talking about, the girlfriend and chief of police meets Angel Batista, who is a character that worked with Dexter in the original show, at a conference. And she had talked to him about the Bay Harbor Butcher case, which is Dexter.
No, it's Sergeant Dokes.
It's Sergeant Dokes. According to Dexter, it's Sergeant Dokes. And that's how it was closed, but a lot of people still believed it was Dexter. But Dexter died, so didn't think it was him. And then chief of police figures out Jim Lindsay is actually Dexter and sends Angel Batista a photo. And he's like, oh my God, Dexter's the Bay Harbor Butcher. Dexter's doing all these killings in New York now. What is going on? And it just blows the whole case wide open. Yeah. So Angel legitimately thought Dexter was dead.
Now, where does Resurrection take place? Does that take place in New York City? Or is he in LA?
He's Resurrection. So he's still in wherever Iron Lake is the name of the town he's in upstate New York. I assumed that's where he was still at. And he was taken to the hospital there and he gets revived. And I don't know where he goes after that. Because like the people how does he get out?
I don't know.
Because the police took him there and they know he's Dexter Morgan. They
Okay.
know he's the Bay Harbor
Resurrection
Butcher.
takes place in New York City.
Oh my God. Dexter takes New York. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah.
It's gonna be so much fun to watch that.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that. I still have to finish Original Sin.
Oh, Original Sin was so good.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really liked the first episode. We talked about that a few episodes
I
a
thought
while
I
ago.
heard that they were gonna bring a season 2 back, but I don't know if that was like a fan thing.
Mm. I feel like that'd be too many spin-offs if they have another season of Original Sin and Resurrection happening.
Yeah.
And yeah. But
But I feel like there's so much more that you could do, like, with Original Sin, like watching Dexter grow up.
it's true. You could watch him like because you do hear about all of his like early kills in the original Dexter show. So it would be cool to see that more in depth
Mhm.
in a show. How do you guys think Dexter survives?
I wanna know what your thoughts are.
Yeah,
Hit
let
us
us
up on
know.
Instagram.
Let us know if you know more about this and hunting than we do. Love to
Because
hear your
you're a
theories.
vegetarian.
I'm a vegetarian. I know nothing. Yeah, find us on Instagram at Inside the Morgue Pod. You can find us on Young Junk's YouTube page and also on our YouTube page at Inside the Morgue. We're also on TikTok at Inside the Morgue Pod. Yeah, just send us any DMs with any suggestions you might have or any theories you might have. Leave us comments, like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Hmm.
And thank you for joining us for this deep dive into Did Dexter Survive and How? We'll be back next time with a brand new dissection.
Bye.
Bye.
Young John!